My name's Sam Leamy. Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. I'm here with Connor Walsh and Michael McLaughlin. How you doing, lads?
I'm doing great. We break it down. real quick. Bottle of wine, maybe 2 bottles of wine. I got MLS playoffs happening live.
What wine do we have here, Connor?
We got 19 Crimes.
Have you ever had 19 Crimes, Mike?
Yeah, I think that's like when I go to a bar and I'm like, can I get a bottle of red, a glass of red? And the girl just like pours me some old.
No, it's pretty cool. It has these
Really?
criminals on the bottle, and then you download the app, and then you wave your phone over the label, and then the guy starts talking about his criminal past.
So it's an Australian wine. And as we all know,
You seem very confused there, Mike.
Yeah, I was confused because I don't like, my food mixing with technology. But all right, whatever.
no, it's 2017, bro.
I hear you.
But yeah, how's New York, Mike? How's New York?
New York's been great, man. I don't even. I was in North Carolina.
All right.
For Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And that was great. And New York's been awesome too. What am I talking about? I don't even like New York.
Would you prefer? So you've been around the country a lot in the last few weeks. You've been to California, North Carolina, and then you came up here. Did you come up here?
Yeah, I was up there. I hung out. I remember when I came into your house we were going to record that episode, and instead all we did was invest in cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, get rich or die trying.
By the way, if any of the audience want to know why we're going to have a studio and why we're going to be in a palatious, area, it's because of our $12 each invested in cryptocurrencies.
Yo, we're not recording an episode until we're in Calabasas. The studio's going to be in Calabasas coming soon.
Whenever you go on YouTube, you're just going to see Sam walking into his house holding a camera in his face. Now, if you really want to know how I got this house...
Who's that? Yeah, who is that guy on social media? Who's that guy who's washing down his cars? What's that guy called?
I don't know. It's always the same guy. It's like, what's up, dude? I'm in Malibu, and this is one of my 7 cars. And what I said is like, listen, 2 years ago I was a barista. Now I own 5 mansions, and it's the same fucking.
Yeah, and it's like a 20-minute video, and you're just trying to fast forward, but you can't fast forward the video. You have to listen to the whole bullshit over and over again.
Yeah, that's another one too. How annoying is it when you're on an ESPN FC article and you want to read it, and then just some sounds? It's so hard to turn off the ESPN video sound.
Yo, real quick, shout out to Apple the Plug. The new Safari blocks autoplay videos.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, use Safari gang.
Thank you, Millennial.
Thank
So
you.
it has been a big week. It has been a big week for
So
all of us.
that's what we call them now, millennial.
Yeah, big Thanksgiving. Last week you were down in North Carolina. Bitcoin hit $11,000 this week. But the biggest story of the week, and it happened today. So Tiger Woods came back, played in his first competitive round today. He shot 3 under par. I know you watched his whole round, Mike. Today you had the day off.
Dude, I've never done cocaine, but all I know is that my cryptocurrency investments were exploding and Tiger Woods was smashing drives on my TV. I've never been so pumped as I was today.
Like three under in his own tournament in the Bahamas, Albany, New Providence today.
They kept saying Albany. I was watching. They kept saying Albany. I was like, what are these guys talking about? I was like, we made it. Yo, we made it. And then I was like, nah, Tigers.
So how did he shoot today, Mike?
3 under, top 10. He's tied for 8th right now. Only 18 players, but whatever. And he looked great. Dude. His swing looked fast. He looked good. Man.
Some of his swings looked very good. Some looked unbalanced. There was one shot after I think he bogeyed and he nearly fell over his back leg and his front foot came up. But
only thing I wanted to do,
I think he was taking mulligans. Like halfway through the round.
Only thing I don't want to do is like he looks great. Just stop using your club as a cane to get out when you get out of the bunker. Like I don't like looking at it every time. You ever notice when he gets out of a bunker, he uses the club and he kind of like looks old for a second. You're like, dude, come on.
I thought he looked good in some angles on TV, and then some. He was wearing the all black today, probably to hide some of his
slimming.
Yeah, it doesn't show his curves that he's.
You know what does show on all black? Tiger's cocaine addiction. Wipe those flakes off your shoulders, son.
It's not a cocaine addiction. It's a Xanax addiction. Secondly, no, I thought, first of all, Tiger looked stacked. He looked broad and strong. His arms, like
he did.
Yeah, I go to the gym all the time, and I just always look skinny. Like little arms coming out.
He looked good. I thought
got a little bit of a gut.
His putting was better than expected. I thought. And I love how every time he swung the club, which was probably like 50,000 times during the round, the commentators were like, "Oh, his back's really holding up." These commentators are gonna curse him, bro, and his back's gonna go shot by tomorrow. Whole six tomorrow.
I hope not. I mean, he might shoot a 75 tomorrow and blow up. But I actually think, because last year we watched it, I think our first podcast ever we talked about this. Did we? We definitely talked about Tiger.
It was one of the first ones because he hasn't played competitive golf for what 10, 11 months now.
Yeah, and he only played the 2 tournaments. But last year, watching the same tournament, this one looked better. The swing looked better, looked faster. He looked more crisp. He looks more fluid. You know.
Is this an easy course though for him? I mean,
it's an easy course for me. I mean, look at that course. No, I don't know, man. Of course, it's like 600-yard par fives, but I guess it's probably easy for these pros.
That was one thing the commentators were saying he was struggling on was his par fives. He wasn't.
I was watching him all. He was reaching them all in 2. He just his chipping game. He still had a little bit of the yips and the chipping, a little bit of the old,
And he was definitely under pressure for himself and for his family. I mean, for himself. He doesn't really have family anymore, but definitely for himself. Well, okay.
He's dating some Wendy's waitress or something.
What a legend! But overall, good day.
He's got a girlfriend. I've seen a picture.
All right, but overall, good day for Tiger to get back on the course and out there. This is a soccer podcast, but we are in the middle of the MLS playoffs. Seattle, Houston are playing the second leg with Seattle 2-0 up. But more importantly, first, World Cup draw tomorrow. You guys pumped for this World Cup draw at 10 a.m. on Fox Sports 1.
Dude, this used to be like I'm still going to watch, but this was like, I remember the last time was in college, and we had like everyone skip class. It was like an event. It was like an actual event. Everyone got together and watched the draw together because of the U.S. We got the group of death. Regardless, it was just such a fun event to see who we got, and now tomorrow, it's you got to watch, but it's just not what it could have been. Obviously, without the U.S. making it, dude.
I remember back in 2010, the draw 2010, and I was sitting there with the owner of the bar that you guys.
Miles was in there. Miles Joseph.
That's right. Miles Joseph was there.
The assistant coach of Orlando.
I was getting shit faced. I think I annoyed him, but. I remember when they announced the first game, USA v England. I went to the owner of the bar and I was like, "Man, I was like, congratulations." And he was like, "What? Who cares? What?" I was like, "No, dude, you just made a lot of money." He's like, "What do you mean? Like, what? People are gonna come?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna be bad."
Should I break this draw down for everyone? So there is 4 pots with no more than 2 European teams. No, you got to listen to this. You have to listen to this. I'll be watching.
Group A's and Group B's and Group C's.
I'm going to be, me and Uncle Nash opening the bar early. He's going to be cooking up some breakfast sandwiches if you want to come down to the bar.
Is it in Moscow?
It's in Moscow.
Moscow.
Yeah, it's like Moscow.
Moscow Mule. Yeah, Moscow. Moscow.
Moscow, yeah. It's actually in the Kremlin. It's in part of the Kremlin. It's in the Kremlin Palace. And our very own Gary Lineker is going to be co-presenting the draw tomorrow.
Lineker is not going to make it out of the Kremlin alive. Prisoner of war.
So let me break it down for you. There are 4 pots with every country seeded into their respective pots. And there's going to be 8 teams in each pot with 32 teams competing. In pot 1, the top seeds, Russia, the hosts, are in pot 1, along with Germany, Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, Belgium, Poland. Surprisingly, they are ranked, I believe. Where are they ranked, FIFA?
Way too high. They're like 6 in the country, 6 in the world right now.
And France, pot 2, surprisingly, Spain. This is probably the reason because Russia are hosting the World Cup, and Poland's surprisingly high FIFA rankings. Peru, Switzerland, England, Colombia, Mexico, Uruguay, Croatia.
Poland is 7th. Correction.
Yeah. Pot 3, Denmark, Iceland, Costa Rica, Sweden, Tunisia, Egypt, Senegal, and Iran.
Tunisia.
What's wrong with Tunisia? What have you got?
Isn't it Tunisia?
All right. I didn't know this is a racist podcast.
Grammar Nazi.
Pot 4, Serbia, Nigeria, Australia, Japan, Morocco,
there it is.
Panama, South Korea, and Saudi Arabia. So England falling into pot 2. Obviously, the teams they want to avoid in pot 1: Germany, Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, Belgium, France, Russia, and Poland. Obviously, the two weakest teams in that pot one. No more than two European clubs, teams, and nations can be paired into the same group, and no other nation from their respective continent can be put into the same group. So, with the United States taken out the equation, I know you guys will be watching this. The draw's always fun. The whole build up to the draw is a lot of bullshit with a lot of dancing. That hot chick, just,
There's nothing more awkward than the banter in FIFA and UEFA draw events. Like the Champions League draw every year is like the most cringeworthy. Am I talking too loud?
No, get closer to the mic.
All right, bro. No, the closer. The Champions League draw is like the most cringeworthy event of the year.
Well, they have to satisfy every every
Well, yeah, I like it when they do.
I have no idea what word you're looking for.
Nations and cultures. I love when they put them there, like United. They're like United Nations, like translator earphones. So it takes like 10 seconds for there to be some like natural reaction.
The problem is, and this is nothing against people that speak a different language. It's just the reality of the draw is you have a guy that hosts the event that speaks next to zero English, but he hosts the event in English. And he tries to make jokes in English, and he has like no idea what right words to say, and it's just like, bro, come on, just keep it moving, bro. Just do the draw. Pick a.
So you don't want to see the dancers, you don't want to see the confetti, you don't want to see Gary Lineker.
What about the girls that hand?
I want to see the most random player, such as Effin Akoku, reach his hand in a pot of balls. That's all I care about. They bring players out of the woodwork, man. These guys.
How do you know about Effin Akoku?
I'm nice, bro.
Was he on Fox? He was on.
He was on
Fox Soccer Plus.
He was on
right?
Fox, yeah, for a while. He still is on Fox, but it was just like the most random dudes they pull out of the woodwork to be on these draws. Sometimes you get some cool guys. Like Henri did the Champions League draw this year, which was sick, but actually it wasn't that sick. It's just Henri picking a ball out of a pot, but. Nah, it's a weird event. It's a weird event.
Yeah, when are they going to? Side note.
So it's normally Infantino, the FIFA president currently, who normally hosts the draw. Now he is the FIFA president. It's going to be someone else hosting the draw along with Gary Lineker, right? I actually don't know who's hosting it, but
no, Lineker is the host. Because I don't know who the guy's name is, but the last 2 years the Champions League draw, because obviously it happens more frequently than the World Cup draw, but it's been the same dude for the last 2 years, and he should be sacked immediately. But UEFA, I don't know. UEFA, they're not listening to the podcast.
All right, so I know you guys are going to be rooting for England, right? You're going to be pulling for England for an easy draw here?
Yeah.
Definitely?
England 3, bro.
All right, so worst case...
Jack Wilshere masterclass.
Worst case scenario, I know they did a couple of trial draws today. I was listening on the way, and the first draw, this is probably the most irrelevant conversation we're ever going to have on the podcast, but they did do a couple of draws. One was... Brazil, England, Costa Rica, and I think Australia came out.
It's a tough group.
And then the other one was Poland, Croatia, Iceland, and Australia. So that would be a good group for England, especially with...
The first group?
The second group.
You didn't say England in that second group.
I said Poland, England...
You said Poland.
Poland, England, Iceland, and Australia, sorry.
Yeah.
In the second group, and that would be a good group for England, especially with what happened in Nice, France last year with Iceland game. A good rematch there for England to respond to in this World Cup. But who knows? I mean, the draws always exciting. I'm sorry USA are not there, but the bar will be open. I'm excited for the draw. I know you guys will be watching, but.
Well, you know what I'm really excited for is more simulated draws that don't have the USA national team involved anyway. No, you know who I like, Sam? You know who I'm rooting for real? Mm-hmm. I like Mexico. I like Costa Rica.
Dude,
I like...
What are you saying, bro?
That's just what I like. I like Costa Rica. I'm going to root for Panama. I'm going to go Mexico, Costa Rica, then England, then Iceland. Those are my fours. That's my squad.
Mexico number one. Our podcast just lost all credibility with that statement.
How about you, Connor? Is there any team you're going to be tied to, or are you just going to enjoy this whole event?
I am obviously going to miss the United States, but it is fun to watch a tournament as a complete neutral, and you can back whatever country you want and enjoy them. and you can enjoy multiple countries, and you're not, a sellout for doing that. England, France, and Brazil are the teams I'm most excited to watch. And I shouldn't say I'm most excited to watch England, just because they're not exciting to watch. But I always have enjoyed watching England just because I like their players. I enjoy the Premier League. But I guess Brazil and France are the two teams I would imagine with the most flair. The French national team to me is just like so special with the current crop of players. And England or Brazil under this manager. So, real quick. Last episode, we talked about the Players Tribune article that Christian Pulisic wrote, or was ghostwritten for him, more or less. But I read that, and then in the suggestions for other articles to read, I read Marcelo's article, and it was the best soccer piece I've ever read in my life. And he talked about how much he loves this manager of Brazil, Tite, whatever. And I was blown away by the respect he has for him. And he said he would die for this dude. And I think that this Brazilian national team will reflect those feelings. And I am excited to watch Brazil because you have
and they definitely have something to prove, especially what happened to them in the semifinal in the last World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Humiliated, should we say?
Exactly. And even Brazil is a nice young to mid-age team, but this would definitely be the last major tournament for Dani Alves and Marcelo, who are arguably the two best players ever in their position. You could make the case for both of them being the best player ever in their position, and to not have them in the Brazilian national team, it will be a huge loss for them. So, I'm probably most excited for Brazil, honestly, and I just love France. I love their players, and I love what they've done. And so you could throw out 3 French national teams that could compete at the global stage.
Serious insights by Mr. Walsh there. But you can never rule out Germany, who essentially went in the Confederations Cup with their B team and blew everyone away.
B- team, C team. Julian Draxler, captain.
So never write off Germany. All those teams in pot 1 take out Poland and Russia. Any of those teams can win, and Portugal riding high on that Euro triumph as well last summer. But looking at those nations. Yes, there's 32 teams in the World Cup. You're going to have a lot of weaker teams, but there are huge nations that are missing out. USA, Chile, but to name a few. But yeah, like I said, World Cup draw happening tomorrow, FS1. FS1, I believe they start their coverage at 9:30. Then they go to the studio at 10 o'clock, and then the draw will be 2 in the afternoon. So tune in, everyone. But talking about Germany, we're going to rewind the clock a week. It was Christian Pulisic versus Weston McKennie last weekend. It was second against third, second against fourth. Schalke against Borussia Dortmund.
The Riviera Derby.
We'll do the Pulisic watch right now. We'll do the McKennie watch as well right now. How did those boys do? How did the game go, Michael McLaughlin, our German correspondent?
Well, it was a rough and tumble day at the what's the name of where's the hell does Dortmund play? Where's Connor going?
He's going for a pee, I think.
Jesus,
I'm listening. I'm still here.
All right, whatever.
All right.
It was a hard fought match. Actually, they came out and Pulisic was he was playing a wing back,
both these guys started. Everyone who doesn't know Weston McKennie, he started for the US a couple of weeks ago in the international break. Up and coming guy for Schalke, been starting a lot of games this season for Schalke, and then obviously Christian Pulisic, who everyone knows. Head to head for the first time in a foreign country, both starting. A lot riding on this game. Schalke, having a good run of form right now, and Borussia Dortmund on the dip in the Bundesliga.
And it was a little different. You can't really compare the two because Pulisic is probably, other than after Aubameyang, the number 2 person. Bosch writes on his team sheet when it seems like McKennie. It seems like he's in the starting 11 now, pretty substantially, but and pretty regularly. Sorry, but it's still kind of questionable. And after this match, I don't know because he got subbed out at the 32nd minute. So
yeah, he did get booked in the first 10 minutes or the first few minutes, right?
Schalke's approach in the first 25-30 minutes was just go in. The tackles, it was the most intense derby. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. If anyone not watched it, it was Schalke was trying to hurt every Dortmund player, every tackle. And within the first 10 minutes, there was 2 legitimate scuffles. And I don't think McKennie did anything necessarily wrong. I think that at that point, Schalke had to do some damage control. And then in that damage control ended up resulting in a complete turn of form for the team in the second half, where they came back and scored 4 goals. But disappointing to see McKinney come off that early in what was a pretty historic game for American soccer fans. I mean, 2 teenagers starting for 2 of the biggest clubs in Europe, in Germany. Like, that was pretty wild. And
it was crazy that neither one of them
2 teenagers as well.
Yeah. When I wake up on a Saturday morning, I turn on the Premier League. That's just nature. I woke up on Saturday like excited for this game because of McKinney and Schalke, and I think that I'm sure fans across the country had that. Mike, I know that you're the Bundesliga expert.
Dude, I know. But everyone's Connor. Everybody's like you. They don't really watch. They're into the Premier League. They'd rather watch fucking Leicester City play Watford. And I'm like, dude, watch Dortmund because this American kid is amazing. And to see them play each other, it was really cool. But it was a bit. It was disappointing in the end because I think that Dortmund looks like they're going to fall apart for honestly the rest of the season. I don't.
So this was coming off Tottenham Hotspur beating Dortmund in Germany. Tottenham, the first time they've won in Germany a few days prior to this game. But Dortmund running out four goals in the first 25 minutes with Weston McKennie getting booked. Then Weston McKennie comes off in the 33rd minute. It gets to halftime. Borussia Dortmund 4-0 up. Looks like no way back for Schalke, but what happened in the second half, Mike?
Schalke got 2 goals. Aubameyang picked up his second yellow card, and Dortmund went down to 10. They put Pulisic up top, and I don't even know, did he touch the ball more than like 3 or 4 times after that? Because it was basically just Schalke all the way. And then in the 90th, they got a 3rd goal, and then with the 88th, 90th minute, they got the equalizer. And then 4.
As soon as Aubameyang got sent off and Pulisic went up front, their shape was just lost, or what happened there? Because they looked like they were already conceding goals before Aubameyang went off.
Well, the thing is, with Dortmund has struggled not just this season, but for a couple of years now. You could make the case for the last 4 years, 5 years even. They have struggled defensively more often than not. And what was his face? Wacko from Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, worst manager in Europe. His last year, they were in relegation. They've struggled defensively for a long time.
And then Tuchel, well, they play with a really high line. They play with a high line, so they get caught on the counter a lot. But this game, they came out a little different. They came out with 5 at the back. It was a little more controlled, and they honestly dominated. I think they thought they won the game, which you should have won the game. You're up 4-0. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Game's over. What are you doing? And then somehow they scored a couple goals.
I've never seen a greater contrast in 2 halves. Because Schalke was so reckless in that first 25 minutes. Where, 4 goals is harsh, but they were like completely out of control. Literally out of control with their tackles, with their approach. And Dortmund restored some of that, that world class, like what you expect from Dortmund at this point. But I don't know. I think that Dortmund might be somewhat broken. They've been broken for a few years now, and Peter Bosz comes in. They have a great start to the season in the Bundesliga, but that you can't do that, especially in a derby. It wasn't they weren't playing like Darmstadt or Augsburg. They're playing Schalke in the derby. Give up a 4-goal lead at home. I don't know if you guys saw a video on Twitter of the Dortmund players always go over to the wall and do their clap. They clap, applaud the fans. It was like jeers and boos and
after the game.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer Peter Bosz has. You think that he would be on the way out? That was a rough week for them. You can't lose in the Champions League at home and then lose a derby at home in the same week. This doesn't happen. 2
things I read today actually were that they're interested in the manager of, I believe, Hamburg.
Julian Nagelsmann is probably the best young manager in Europe.
Exactly. And I don't know if you guys read this, but Chelsea, Aubameyang's for sale, and Chelsea looks like to be the top bidder. Breaking news. Michael McLaughlin. I don't know if you guys know the transfer market, but it turns out Chelsea, team in England apparently.
There's probably a few players at Dortmund that probably went out at this stage with how the club's being run in the last couple of years, with the managers coming in and out and the results not going for them, and especially that result.
They're just holding on by a thread at being a top European club, because before that resurgence in 2011,
I mean, I know they have won a Bundesliga recently, but are they kind of like the Tottenham of the Bundesliga?
No, because Tottenham has had
they're
no
higher.
success. People,
Although Tottenham beat Dortmund last week.
no, that's one game.
This is Tottenham's best team they've ever had, right?
People
this year,
expect
right?
way more out of Dortmund than they do of Tottenham Hotspur, but at some point, these players that are without a doubt world class, you have 5, 6, 7 players in that roster that are extremely talented, and at some point, this Dortmund project is going to fold, which has been so great for 10 years now. But before that year, I'm trying to think. I was a junior in high school when I first started watching Dortmund. Whatever year that was, 2010, 2011, when they first got good again, and when Schalke was getting good again. Like Dortmund was the team, and this project has kind of faltered, and they've had their moments of success, but it hasn't been a long term. The plan hasn't been long term where you're guaranteed to be good every year. They've been in Munich's shadow for the most part, and I think once you sell some of these players who are going to eventually demand to go, I think Pulisic included, that club could not fall apart. They're going to continue to sign good young talent, but you're going to lose 5, 6, 7 really, really talented players.
Well, what happened this year was that they didn't think Dembele was going to go until next year.
They knew Dembele was going to go.
No, but he forced it. He forced it because Neymar doesn't go to PSG. Dembele doesn't go to Barcelona.
True.
So Neymar goes to PSG. Dembele goes to Barcelona. And here's the problem: is if you put Pulisic and Dembele on the wings here, and Götze in the middle with Aubameyang up top, I'm sorry, but the team they're probably top the Bundesliga. I mean, as long as Dembele doesn't get injured.
Well, one thing Bayern Munich hasn't been, they've lost a couple matches already. They actually lost that weekend against Mönchengladbach. Dembele was definitely a big loss, but I still think that there's more security at Bayern Munich. There's more, you can more guarantee a win. Dortmund is just way more streaky and inconsistent.
I also love saying the word "I'm sorry" when I have a take. Go on. I'm sorry, but
I think that's a good. I think that was. I thought that was a really good point, Mike. If Dembele doesn't go and he stays injury free, that front four for Dortmund is probably just as good, if not better, than what Bayern Munich have right now.
With Dembele there,
yeah.
I would still give the upper edge to Munich just because the system is in place, and that's like a Real Madrid type club where you throw players in there and it works for the most part. It's kind of a bad example because of Real Madrid hasn't been that great in La Liga this year, but I don't know. All
right, talking about Real Madrid, moving on. Gareth Bale is back. He did play the other day in the cup, Spanish Cup, 2-2 against third division Fuenlabrada, creating 2 goals as well. He looked good. He looked active. Avoided embarrassment against a lower league side. They were 2-0 up from the first leg, but avoided defeat at home. But it's good to see Gareth Bale back, right? Just like Tiger Woods.
He's leading the club in assists.
Really?
Yeah, Gareth Bale's leading Real Madrid in assists. I don't know, man. Gareth Bale, I don't know if I feel bad for him at this point.
Who do you love more, Tiger Woods or Gareth Bale?
Tiger Woods, but I love Gareth Bale. All right. Gareth Bale, I kept that both those Inter Milan games recorded on my DVR for 4 years.
Do you still have the box?
I used to make a girl, if I hooked... this is too much info.
Tell the story.
But if I hooked up with a girl, I'd make her watch Gareth Bale highlights. I'm like, watch him versus Inter Milan. Look at him. They'd be like, okay. I'm like, remember the name.
I've actually got a story after we come off air. After this,
why can't you just tell him right now?
No, I can't. No, I can't. It's going to be very personal. And
Connor didn't even listen to what. Hey, Connor, what did I just say?
When you took up with girls, you would throw on Gareth Bale versus Inter Milan, dude. Come on. I'm sorry that Seattle versus
but on DVR, not on DVR. Not
right.
On
so on the television right now, it is Seattle v Houston Dynamo.
Guys,
this is the Western Conference second leg final with Seattle going 2-0 up.
My dad is at the match promoting the podcast. He texted me. He was at the pub before. Apparently, there's a brewery right across the street from CenturyLink Field. And he texted me and said the podcast is thriving, and he has passed the word on to the locals.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
As DeMarcus Beasley pisses the ball away.
But talking about the Eastern Conference Finals now. Last night, the winner of this game tonight, Seattle Houston, will play at Toronto for the championship. Michael Bradley and co. lifting the Eastern Conference Championship yesterday with a 1-0 win over Columbus Crew. Columbus season coming to a sad end, but they will exist next season.
Next year for sure. So Columbus is in a kind of funny position. This is like the most ridiculous. This is the most MLS. It's empty. All right, we have to open a bottle of wine.
All right, you go on the
Sam,
Columbus
thing,
news,
bro.
and then all right.
So Columbus is in like a pretty. It's the most MLS thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Sam with the penis shot. Whatever, go on.
Ooh, it's lit. No, so as we all know, Anthony Precourt, the owner of the Columbus Crew Soccer Club, has intentions to move the club to Austin. The mayor of Columbus released a statement this week, which was like really cool to see, about how they're dedicated to finding a location downtown. A location was found and has been proposed to Precourt. The city really wants to keep the club, but the plan B it's just so absurd. The Columbus Crew moves to Austin, and then Columbus files for an expansion for a new club.
Are they in the shortlist with Nashville, Cincinnati?
That's another story. The Final Four, if you will, has been announced for MLS expansion. Sacramento, Detroit, Nashville, Cincinnati.
Who's the favorite there? Nashville, right?
No, definitely
Nashville.
Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati stadium site has been announced, funded. But how that's just crazy.
Aren't they averaging like
you,
20,000 anyway?
Yeah, in the USL. But like, how crazy is that? Like, you own a team, but you're applying for expansion because of MLS. It's just ridiculous. Hopefully the Crew takes it. Hopefully the Crew stays in Columbus with their new stadium site. Did you guys watch last night's game?
I did. I was working, but I did watch most of the game. Yes.
Mike, you have a statement?
Wait, I watched last night's game, and wait, the Columbus thing, you're saying that so they're going to leave,
and then the
Columbus
city is going
expansion team?
No, the city is going to bid. Like, once the team leaves, you're no longer a MLS city, if you will, and then the city is going to bid for a team just like Sacramento, Detroit, Nashville, and Cincinnati are right now. So they're going to re-enter for a team.
And so it's like you don't know what you got till it's gone kind of thing?
I guess. I mean, it's something like that. It's just...
Because the fans have been great in Columbus the last, month.
So here's the thing. I've been doing a lot of reading about Columbus, and I honestly don't remember if by the last time... We've been recording every 2 weeks. It's our fault. We apologize to our listeners. But the last episode, did we talk about Michael Bradley's statements about Columbus? Do you guys remember?
I don't not think so.
No, you're right. Because after last Tuesday night's game, the 0-0 draw in Columbus, first leg of the Eastern Conference Final, Michael Bradley was asked some questions, and he gave his take as a guy that's been in MLS for...
I think we did touch on this, but we'll repeat it again.
Bradley was like, listen, this is a great club, great history. The fan base has fallen behind. The ownership has fallen behind. It's like going to an archaic stadium. The fan base is archaic. The business model is archaic. And he made a really good point, actually. He's like, as this league grows, I mean, remember, this league is just over 20 years old. A lot of these mid-market teams, you're going to have to relocate because the brand's gone stale. New markets are emerging that want a club. And I think anyone that follows MLS, even casually, knows that the front office is so hungry for money. Understandable. It's a fairly new league. They want to get paid. They want to keep the league alive, and that's why you see all these rules with, target allocation money, general allocation money, and whatnot. That some cities might have to be reconsidered for a move, and I think Columbus is definitely at the top of that list. So it was crazy to see Bradley throw shade at Columbus, but what do you guys think? I mean, so far in these playoffs, the turnout in Columbus has been fantastic. I know 2 episodes ago or an episode ago we talked about some of the gates being closed inside the stadium. This was a problem again last Tuesday night for the first leg. There was literally thousands of fans outside of the stadium at kickoff. I think again Anthony Precourt just wanted that kickoff shot of the stadium being half empty. I mean, the pictures on Twitter are like, this sucks, man. Like, this really sucks for these fans that want to be there and they're locked outside of their own stadium to prove a point to the league and to like the national casual fan. I just don't know. I think
it's a lot of greed from the owner, and he just wants to create more money. I think you can create a brand within Columbus. You're saying that if they leave and they want to apply for another expansion team there is enough support in that city to back an MLS club. And we're not talking about...
Can you expect a fan that has backed an original club since '96 to jump into a new team after their team has been ripped away from them? You know what I mean? Like, are they just going to jump right in and support a brand new club? I mean, I guess they would because it's the city's club, but, you know... Columbus is like, you know, one of the original teams, and some fans have been there for over 20 years now, supporting game in, game out. Like, you can't expect them just to support a brand new like brand, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I feel like the product is so different now, and that these new cities are so excited to get their little taste, and even people in Columbus probably are bored. Because it's the same experience to them.
Back to Bradley's point, I watched some regular season games in Columbus.
What do you want, Mike? What do you want as a Columbus Crew fan? Do you want a turnover of players every year? I mean, their team's not bad. They're a pretty successful MLS club. They've won one MLS club. I mean, not so long ago. They've been to a final.
They won the final in like '09.
Yeah,
and then they were.
They've won.
They were in the final and
support
they were in the final 2 years ago. No, it's been a great club. It really has been.
So, what do you want as a fan? Like, as an excitement, like you want a brand new experience as the league grows. So what's going to happen in Atlanta in 10 years' time? Do you think...
The difference between Atlanta and Columbus is the Atlanta ownership is investing and promoting the club. The Columbus ownership is just investing in this team being there. Like, you're not building up any hype. You're not going to reach new fans. I promise you that half of the fans at Atlanta games are not soccer fans before this year. They're not. Atlanta, down south, college football, you have Georgia Tech in the city, and the Falcons, who were in the Super Bowl last year. This was a novelty that was promoted well. It was promoted to a younger audience, and this is why this team has thrived.
So as soon as all these top markets are filled and are entered into the MLS, then we're going to see cities like Columbus kind of mellow out and just do their own thing instead of moving and seeking further finance. That's what's going to happen. As soon as the Nashvilles, the Cincinnati's, all these big market soccer cities get accepted.
It's a mid-market.
Well, still mid-market, but they have the fan base. Once they get accepted into the MLS, there's another LA team. Las Vegas are looking to come in a few years. You know Nashville are going to have an MLS team in the next 4 years. So once all those markets hit, then Columbus will just have their team, and then they'll sustain. As ever long.
I think Michael Bradley was definitely, obviously, he was in a series. Until last night, he was in a series against Columbus. He obviously wants his team to win. He wants his club to win. He made a really good point, though, that this league is going to grow, and without promotion and relegation, it has to be a league, like, mandated thing. But some of these mid-markets that have thrived, that aren't thriving, might have to go. And you've seen mid-markets such as Kansas City, such as Orlando, that have really, really thrived and have embraced MLS.
Kansas City just rebranded. So.
They rebranded, but that's what happens when you have good ownership. You have owners that are willing to invest in a new brand.
There's no reason why Columbus owners can't do what Kansas City did. There's no reason.
No, and you've seen the support.
Just give them a cooler name, like Sporting. What was it, Kansas City Wizards before?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. That's what I was gonna say. I don't like the name of the team. I don't think I like the name of the city, and I know I don't like their colors. So, like, when I turn it on TV, I know their team is good, but I don't really want to watch it.
One of our followers on Twitter actually tweeted us like a really funny tweet this week that we retweeted. It was a Manchester United fan talking about preseason tours, and he said that. He saw Manchester United and Kansas City. And he was talking like a bunch of shit. He was like, it's a city I've never been to, but he's like, it was the most brilliant experience of my life. He's like, Kansas City's the funnest place I've ever been to.
Didn't they lose that game or something? They drew or lost.
You would know better than I do.
It wasn't that long. I think it was like a World Cup year where we had like second or third string. I know we did lose one game because I went to one game in Gillette Stadium and Michael Owen scored 5 or 6 goals. It was like 7-1. But I think a few days later we went. I think it was Kansas and we lost that game.
You may have. But he
think
said it was like he's like Kansas City's the best city.
But it
I've
was
ever
when
been
they
to.
were the Wizards, not Sporting Kansas City.
Probably, yeah. Probably. I don't know.
Was it that? I got to look it up after. So, but yeah, carry on.
All right, anyway, we have to round up that.
Anyway, going to the game. Josie Altidore scoring.
Well, first leg. First leg, 0-0 draw. Not much in the other team. I had the game on.
Oh, yeah, it's the MLS Roundup with Connor Walsh.
Yeah, I had the game on. I'm Millie Rock on any block. Hey. No, but I had the game on at the bar. No one cared except for one guy. Shout out to that one guy. If you're listening, you know who you are.
One guy.
Dude, the funny thing about MLS is that no one...
Connor's dad.
No, it wasn't that. No one would... One thing about working at the bar is you have the opportunity to, like, indoctrinate people. I've had the open cup on with sound streaming from an iPad. Like, you get the opportunity to indoctrinate people.
This was like 2 years ago as well when it was when streaming wasn't that good.
And the thing is, like, people don't know that they're interested until they watch it. Dude, the entire bar was into the Columbus, Toronto 0-0 draw in Columbus, bro. It was
serious?
Dude, every shot, I was surprised at myself. I was expecting, like, Sam or ownership to walk in and be like, yo, turn this sound off. Like, no one here. 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Sound on the game?
Bro, every TV.
It was a doubleheader.
Every TV the game was on. I'm notorious for this. But I was expecting to get yelled at. I was like half nervous. Like, why is this
Are there
game?
a bunch of girls there with like tiaras for their birthday?
Yes.
And blaring Columbus
Sashes.
Crew shit?
21st birthday sash. And I have Taylor Twellman screaming on this down at the bar. But, dude, people were getting into it. They're cheering every shot. And I'm like, yo, doing our part, yo. We have to indoctrinate the people. But 0-0 draw. Toronto could have scored. You have to say that was probably job well done. It was kind of a weird game for both teams. Columbus wants to score at home.
Altidore was suspended for that game, right?
So was Giovinco. So you're playing the best team in MLS history without their 2 biggest scoring threats. You want Columbus to score. They don't score, but Toronto doesn't give up any goals. They don't score any away goals. It's a weird thing, but everything is in place for either team to advance in Toronto last night. We've seen the last few years in MLS playoffs. That is probably the best atmosphere in the league come a playoff game. It's 30 degrees. It's freezing cold. The fans are like rabid. It is, dude, I love watching games in Toronto in the playoffs, and I'm excited for the final in Toronto. But one thing about Toronto is they haven't been that good. They have somewhat struggled through these playoffs. Obviously the last game against Columbus, no Altidore, no Giovinco.
Same as last year, really. I mean, the 2-legged game against Montreal last year, they scraped through that.
Yes, they did, but it was like the best series in MLS playoff history, so you have to give some credit to Montreal there. Giovinco and Altidore just aren't linking up the way that they had been all season. I mean, if you look at the highlights, you see great assists and great goals by both players when they combine. What would this mean for... I have 2 questions. What would this mean for Toronto, who is the best... you can't deny it. They're the best team in the league history. Most points in the regular season. Both best squad ever assembled. What would this mean if they lose 2 finals in a row at home? Because they're going to... we're watching the Seattle-Houston game. Dempsey almost just scored, but
I think it's similar to last year. We can't say it's much difference. I think the link-up goal that Altidore scored yesterday was one of the best goals of the playoffs, with Giovinco holding that ball off and holding off a 6'6", 250-pound defender.
Real quick, how good is Giovinco at hold-up play? It is astonishing.
Amazing.
He's amazing at holding the ball.
He's so fucking
What's
good
his height? He's 5'6".
5'6", something like that.
5'6".
It's probably a good guess. Yeah,
160 pounds, and he can hold off 6'4", 250-pound defenders. I think that build-up play for the winning goal was one of the slickest goals in the playoffs that we've seen so far. But in terms of Seattle, say they go through this game, and Toronto going into the final, very similar to last year in terms of form. Toronto are going to be favourites just because of their regular season form.
And they'll be at home.
And they'll be at home. But take nothing away. Remember, Dempsey was injured for the final last year. He's playing great this year, MLS Comeback Player of the Year. And he'll be hopefully fit for the final. So throw Dempsey in there. Seattle playing great throughout these playoffs. 2-0 winners at Houston and playing really well so far. I think the form team in the playoffs.
And Jordan Morris is on the bench healthy tonight.
Yeah, you can piss off. But yes, Mike.
No, what I was going to say is I just like the fact that probably Seattle's going to move on, right? And to watch the finals be the same two teams playing each other then 2 years in a row is so good for the MLS, I think.
So because you don't like the parody?
Yeah, dude, MLS is like a fucking, you know what they are? They're like a regular guy who comes into the bar and he's sitting down and he's a fucking weirdo and you're like, this fucking weirdo, and he's ordering, he's like, oh, tomato, and you're like, oh my god, this guy, he's like pulling out a transistor radio, he's like listening to it, he's like, I like that, he's like, what a weirdo. And then like bit by bit he says a couple things, then you're like, you know what, Tim's not that bad of a guy, you know what I mean? And then you end up starting to like him, and that's kind of like the MLS. I'm like, you want to earn respect.
Tim White?
I have no problem with the. I have no problem. I have no problem with the repeat final. No problem.
I love the repeat.
But it's still first half, 20 minutes in. Houston aren't out of it yet. But yeah, there it is. There's the MLS.
Yeah, my dad is at the game and just gave his insight. He said Seattle's better than Houston. So there's that. Take that.
All right.
Just do with that with you, please.
Mr. Walsh just said Seattle better than Houston.
Oh, here we go. Here's a goal. Here's a goal.
That's a fucking goal. That's a fucking goal. Victor Rodriguez. Victor fucking Rodriguez, the DP player. Go on, son. That's it. 1-0 Seattle. Tie done. My dad just texted me. 3 texts.
It's
sick. All he said was sick.
3-0 on aggregate. At Century Field, right? Is that the
CenturyLink Field? DeMarcus Beasley on the screen, looking distraught. He should have retired a decade ago, but keep doing your thing.
Love you, DeMarcus.
All right, moving on swiftly now. We're going to go on to the Premier League, but before we go on to that, Connor has some breaking news on some purchases he did today.
So the Walsh family will be attending. So look let me give my story, man. I was a young lad, obsessed with the Premier League since like elementary. And my mom contacted me 2 weeks ago, and was like, your dad is dying to go on a trip to England. And I was like, that's ironic because I've been dying to go to England for about 15 years now. But we're going to Ireland for 3 days.
Dope.
We're going to England. I'm seeing Arsenal. I'm making my pilgrimage to Mecca, to North London. To the Emirates, the library. I can't wait to hear a bunch of fans not sing. No, I'm stoked though. We're going to Ireland for 3 days, England for 4 days, week trip. I don't know. I haven't been this excited about anything in a while, which is why at the beginning of the podcast I said I'm like over the moon right now because this is special for me. I'm really, really excited.
Are you going to games and stuff?
We're going to Arsenal versus Watford. So I checked the schedule earlier, and according to the schedule, every team in England. I looked at the top 4 divisions, just trying to go to games. The plan was to go to like 4 or 5 games, and every team played at 10 a.m. on Saturday, which I was like, this isn't right. Like I've watched this for too long to know that's not right. I talked to my English correspondent friend Samuel Leamy, who is sitting next to me right now, and he said that once. Roman Torres. Once the TV schedule is released, will be when like the schedule's adjusted. So I'm hoping for some Sunday games in the London area because I'll be in London on that particular Saturday.
Oh, you going to London, dude?
Oh, dude, you're from the surf capital of UK, dude. You're the man, dude.
That's so sick, dude.
Dude, I've been to London and I've been to Newquay. I take Newquay all day, but.
Well, we'll meet you there. We'll go over. You want to go? Stewart Airport?
Yeah, 130
bucks.
When is it?
I'm going March 6th to the 14th.
Dude, I'll go for a long weekend. I don't need to do Ireland. Ireland's gas.
Dude, the prices. No, but dude, fly through Ireland because the
Yeah,
prices
I know.
are so cheap.
I just don't want to spend a minute in Ireland.
Let's be honest, boys. How many coins is it really going to cost us? You know what I'm saying?
All right, so but it has been all right.
man.
It has okay. Well, we're going to be rich in 2020. Good week for Arsenal though. 2 wins out of 2. Away win.
Great week for Arsenal. Great week for Arsenal.
So you're back into it now, kind of.
I know. I was like watching the game yesterday.
The way they're playing,
feeling like such a fair weather fan, and I'm honestly embarrassed by my behavior this season. I think with like, I don't know, man. It's just the MLS is just so appealing to me right now. Oh, see, I was on the break, but I didn't see.
but yeah, Arsenal up to 4th place, 2 wins out of 2 this week.
Can I state a case for myself?
Yeah.
Like I feel like a fair weather fan, but I've like supported this club like every game for like 10 years. It's just, it seems like they're a little bit back, and I don't know. I'm really embarrassed by my behavior. What do you think? Am I? You know me, bro. Am I a fair weather fan?
I get it. I think the Premier League has been. I think the production of the Premier League in recent years has become a lot for me and you. I would rather focus on the football, but the whole production of whatever goes on around the Premier League, it's like, okay, it's superstar managers, it's superstar players, it's even superstar subs now, and there's superstars in the under 23 now. So the whole production of the Premier League might have gone too big for some people's shoes, and they've been turned off. That's why you're seeking for newer products. You know, a lot of the Manchester United fans did this when the City of Manchester club got formed, when the Glaziers took over. They were done with Manchester United, a club that they've supported all their life.
Even that, like last season, I remember last season when you and me first started like hanging out and becoming friends. I was like, dude, how are you not into the Premier League? And I was like, you know, still like every second of my life was dedicated to the league. And I mean, you've even told me this year, it's like, dude, I was there last year. It's just, I
was getting bored. I as a United fan, I thought we were buying players simply in terms of business. I still believe Paul Pogba was a solely business purchase, although he is a good footballer. I don't think he's a world-class footballer.
Really? Even after now?
A lot of people are going to argue with me with that. I just don't think Paul Pogba is at the level of a Ronaldo, a Messi.
It's harder for a midfielder though to like impress on that.
But you have.
I've been the biggest Pogba critic. I've
seen Iniesta and Xavi in recent years. You know, control a Barcelona team, and you're going to praise Messi, David Villa. You know, that Barcelona team between 2008 and 2012, who were the best team probably of all time. And you see those midfielders, and you see someone like Pogba, you know, one of the world's greatest managers, axe him from the team. You know, Alex Ferguson is not going to axe a player he thinks is going to be one of the greatest midfielders of all time. He's just not going to do it. He makes mistakes, Alex Ferguson. He's not a perfect man, but he went to Juventus, and he's grown into a great player. I just don't think he's world class, and like I said, I think a lot of people are going to argue with me on this. But, I saw him at Watford away the other day. I saw him at Brighton Hove Albion at home this past week, and he hasn't shined. I know he's coming back from injury, but I haven't seen a player of his stature take as many games by the scruff of the neck as he should do for a 70-80 million pound player. It's simple as that, and when that transfer happened, I know that was last year, and I know I've been spoiled as a Man United fan, but a lot of activity transfer-wise, manager-wise, with the Premier League that's happened in the last 2-3 years it might have collided with the fact I'm getting older and I just don't have time to watch the amount of football that I used to. But the love for my club, I'm always going to support Manchester United, but for the love for the whole league, and even this season, you kind of seeing Man City getting these last-minute goals, and great for Man City.
Amazing.
Yeah, great.
We'll talk about that in a second.
The Sterling goals were great the other day.
But you kind of see this coming. It's like, I was a United fan. You could see a Man United goal coming in the last minute. And Man City are going through that phase right now. And I still like how the fact that there's 5-6 quality teams in the Premier League going all the way. I mean, we're talking about Tottenham 2-3 weeks ago and how great they are. Like one of the title challenges. They're in 7th place as we speak, as we're going to to print, should we say? So they've fallen off a little bit. But Man City are running away with the league right now. I don't think anyone's going to catch them. Guardiola did come out and say it's going to be impossible for them to stay unbeaten, but they have a very strong chance. Sterling is top goal scorer in that City side, more
Which
than
is
Aguero.
shocking because he's bins known for his pace and his tap-ins, and he is. I watched the game yesterday, and I felt it. I felt that City were going to score. I'm like, this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
And Raheem Sterling curls it in from 20 yards.
Yeah.
Literally the last kick of the game, and I'm like,
2 minutes after he did it, and the goal was called a foul or something. We did with his left foot.
He's had 5 game winners this year, all past the first.
Yeah, Man City coming back against Huddersfield at the weekend, and then pulling a last minute goal against Southampton at home. So it's been a great week for them, great week for United, and great week for Arsenal. Even Liverpool are up there, and as an Arsenal fan, I know you've kind of lost interest in your only kind.
I haven't lost interest. It's
lost a little bit of interest.
Just the week in, week out. Like, okay, we beat Tottenham Hotspur and then lose the Watford type of thing. It's not that I've lost interest. I've lost interest with the current setup. However, this week Arsenal signed a former director of football from Barcelona, which Arsene Wenger has been so against the director of football. What top club in Europe right now doesn't have a director of football? It's the manager can't do everything, and just leaves.
It's Arsene Wenger.
I don't know, dude. I feel I'm like so embarrassed to even talk about this, but because I have been like so dedicated to Arsenal, like unhealthily, but. This last week, I've been like with the Burnley win.
I think it's just the fact that you bought tickets to Arsenal.
No, dude, I'm dead serious. Even like I watched. So me and my grandpa used to watch every game together, and I was over at his house yesterday to watch the Huddersfield game.
That's what you need to do more. Spend more time.
Yeah,
with
but
your
you were
grandma.
also Connor. You're watching every game together in the golden age of this club's era.
Bro, the banter era, bro. Because like, dude, how I was 7, 8, 9 years old during the golden era. Like I wasn't. The game wasn't. One game a week was on Fox Soccer. Like, I have grown up in, like, the banter era of Squillaci and Giroud.
Yeah.
This has been my Arsenal. And at some point, like, I don't care how big of a fan you are. Like,
Connor's not the Henri Bergkamp.
Dude, that's
era.
before me, bro. I watched some of that 2004 season. I remember watching it. But I wasn't invested. I was 9, 8 years old, bro. I watched it. I remember being at my grandpa's house. I probably watched 5 games, dude. It was cool at the time. I couldn't grasp it.
But he didn't know how good it was.
I didn't realize it. I was too young to realize it. And my Arsenal, like,
what's our last great team? 06? That was like the
06. They made the Champions League final.
Yeah, and then the year after Henri left.
09.
Yeah,
they made the
06. He left after 06, didn't he? Henri leave after 06, or he left?
Yeah, he went to Barcelona in
He went to Barca in 07. I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So 06,
and then he went to
then Arsenal made the Champions League final.
New Jersey in 2010.
Arsenal made the final and Champions League semifinal in 2009. But like, I don't know. I'm not trying to like.
Anyway,
I just feel like a loser. I really feel like a loser.
It's all right. We still love you.
I'm checking back in, but the
MLS
is.
He just wants Jack Wilshere to come back. But good week, great week.
Connor,
for
what is time Pulisic?
Great week for Arsenal. They're up to 4th.
Which is blowing my mind. Honestly, blowing my mind.
Jack Wilshere is sitting the bench. He's warming the bench. He's itching to get on. He played. I saw him in the Europa League. I thought he looked great. I thought he was strong. Very active. I thought he was one of the best players for Arsenal in the Europa League.
I've been made my like unwavering love for Jack Wilshere has been made. I've been made fun of a lot by like my friends and people that watch the game, but I don't think I'm wrong this time around. Where Jack Wilshere is like legitimately back. He should maybe be in the English picture. However, I don't think Gareth Southgate is a good manager for England. He said something which is true. He's like, he plays in the Europa League. He plays in the Carabao Cup. Seriously though, he's not getting. If he can't start for Arsenal in the Premier League, should he make my England team? And probably not. However, he has been the best player on the pitch in every Europa League game, every Carabao Cup game, and for like Sam as an Englishman to recognize that, like I think it. For me, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like this dude.
I think it's a little too late for him to get in that World Cup squad.
You think so?
I mean, he has to be in. He has to start Premier League games very soon.
Soon, like real soon. But one thing I think that's in Jack Wilshere's...
no, I don't want anyone else to get... I don't wish any hurt among other professional footballers, but, a couple of injuries in that Arsenal midfield, and he gets that opportunity, and he
One
grabs
injury.
It, yeah.
One injury he's in. The other thing that helps Jack Wilshere is the congested schedule coming up, like, within 2 weeks. Literally 2 weeks, the schedule becomes wicked congested.
Yeah. So, put the cigarette down, mate. You're jogging. You're doing extra laps.
Put your bag of Coke down. Put the cigarette down, Jack. We need you, son.
Right.
We need you, son.
But yeah, I mean, good wins for Manchester United this weekend and during the week. 1-0 winners at home to Brighton and 4-2 winners. Ashley Young looking like a new man. If we recorded this podcast 2 days ago, we would be slating Everton, Wayne Rooney and Everton. But what the heck did we did? Was that what you want to talk about, Mike?
That's all I want to talk about.
Right.
I just like old dudes coming back to reclaim their greatness.
All right, let me just say: Chelsea 2 wins, Liverpool 2 wins, Arsenal 2 wins, Man City 2 wins, Tottenham going down to 7th place. But I think the big story in midweek is David Unsworth's last game for Everton. They've appointed Sam Allardyce as manager. He was in the stands. They were playing West Ham at home. Wayne Rooney. Is it too late for him to get a place in this World Cup? I know he's retired from international duty, but
that means nothing.
Any way he can come back?
Hey Sam, you want England to go number 1 above Mexico? You put Wayne Rooney on the team. In my book, I will watch it, dude, all the time.
You saw the goals?
Yeah, I love the goals, man. It was.
He did miss the penalty, but his all-round play was so slick. He was dropped at the weekend, so he did look a lot fresher during the week. I think that was the plan all along by David Unsworth, the interim manager. A lot of the West Ham players did play at the weekend. It's so hard to play 2 games in a week, especially Premier League games in this day and age. But I'm taking nothing away from what Wayne Rooney did on that field yesterday, 2 days ago. And
no, it was yesterday. It was Wednesday. Or was it Tuesday?
No, it was Tuesday.
Okay.
Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I worked both days.
It was a long day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's late at night. It's Thursday, where it's 11:20 p.m. So.
Okay. Regardless, the first 2 goals, great finishes, penalty, header, the second goal, and then what he did for the third goal and how well he connected with that ball.
He only scored twice.
Huh?
The penalty was saved. He only scored twice.
No, he headed it in.
He had a hat trick.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And the third goal, I mean, that's 2 halfway line goals he scored against West Ham in
3 years.
It's
like 3 years, yeah.
Was Joe Hart at fault for that? I mean, I think he came out, and there's only one. If you're an Everton fan, what player would you want that to go to? Probably Wayne Rooney or Sigurdsson. I think Sigurdsson has the ability to do that kind of shot, but the way he connected with that ball, that's world class, right? From Wayne Rooney.
I think all soccer players have the ability to do that shot, but it's the ability to be in.
I'm not impressed by that shot.
Really?
I'm not. I'm just genuinely not, because the ball is coming to you. Anyone that's played soccer knows when the ball is coming towards you, you're able to generate more power, because if you connect right, like how I expect Wayne Rooney to correct.
Yeah, but Con, here's the thing. He did it under pressure in the moment. To be in the moment and actually to do it is so hard.
Imagine playing West Ham and feeling under pressure.
Dude, you're always under pressure.
I know.
I watched the Tiger make chips today, and you could see he had a couple flibs. It's because the pressure's on. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Rooney was outstanding. Wait, didn't he score a goal this weekend, a curler into the top corner, or was that on Wednesday as well?
No, West Ham lost. No. Everton lost.
Everton
how many goals did he score on Wednesday?
He scored a hat trick.
He did. He curled one in the top left corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And he had a header.
Yeah. The header was from the penalty.
Header was from the penalty, yeah. And
Joe
then
Hudson.
he scored one from. And most of our listeners didn't watch the game, so we might as well just just let them know. And then he scored one from the halfway line, and it was. I wouldn't say it's the best halfway line goal you've ever seen. It was a solid one, and I know what Connor's saying, where the ball's coming at you, so you have the ability. So it's a little easier to generate the power to.
But he has to take it first time. He's only got. A couple of seconds to think what he has to do. He has to.
I scored that same goal in high school against Heatley, bro. I'm not even. Sam knows Heatley, bro. Sam coached against me without even knowing it because we're a few years different in age. Sam knows Heatley. My senior year, I scored a goal against Heatley, bro. He knows what I'm talking about,
dude. If you knew Heatley High School or middle school.
Imagine a town of 3 people and then having a high school of those 3 people playing soccer. I scored from past half field against them. No, it's real.
I don't want to be politically incorrect on this podcast, but Heatley aren't very good.
No.
But yeah, good week for the Premier League. It got exciting this week.
What about Tottenham Hotspur? What's going on, man? We're in 7th place.
What's going on with Tottenham, Mike? What's going on with Tottenham?
Well, I'm a big Spurs fan. I'm always up to date with all the Spurs, Tottenham Hotspurs language, and I don't know what they're good. I think they're my team in the Champions League.
Well, bad week. I mean, they lost against Leicester the other day, 2-1.
Shout out Jamie Vardy for
Leicester back to their. I mean, it looked like Leicester from 2 years ago with Vardy and Mahrez scoring, 2 similar goals that they were scoring back in the day. First time they've beaten Tottenham in, I think it was like 14 years in that fixture. But Tottenham dropping down to 7th place, below Liverpool and below Burnley. On 24 points. Only 2 weeks ago, they were in 2nd place above Manchester United.
This is what's happening with them is they're performing so well in the Champions League. They're having a letdown in the Premier League.
I don't think,
and you see that all the time.
You do. There could be a point there.
I just don't think their squad's as good as the teams above them.
No, it's not.
And as much as Pochettino wants to say, the home Wembley has nothing to do with their results. It has to at this point.
So flat.
It has to. Drawing at home to West Brom. Gary Megson managing West Brom. He hasn't managed a Premier League game for, I think it was like 8 years. So drawing at home to them and then, not getting even a point at Leicester, even though they had a lot of chances. They're having all this possession, but they're relying so heavily on Harry Kane and Dele Alli, and Eriksen is a good player.
He's a great player. It's not.
He's a good player, but
he's top 25.
But is he a Barcelona player? Is he a Real Madrid player right now? I think he is where he is because I don't think those top clubs want to sign him because I don't think he's good enough.
Who are you gonna place in Real Madrid with Eriksen? Isco? Absolutely not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That Eriksen's in the right place. Is Eriksen like one of those top?
Eriksen's better than Tottenham Hotspur, but he's not.
Is he really though? Is he?
We watched that. Never mind. No, we watched the game against Ireland, which I guess Ireland is a bunch of championship.
That's the best game of his life.
Yeah,
dude, that's pretty regular. Eriksen's a special player.
I mean, but you have Lamela coming back, Wanyama. You play Lamela, Wanyama, and Dembele. Well, you play Wanyama and Dembele, and you let Dele Alli have that freedom. But Ali's coming back a little bit deeper now because Dembele isn't playing every game. Wanyama's injured, and Lamela, that other option to free Dele Alli of a few minutes here and there, he's been injured as well, so he's got to step up. So with the squad they have. Tottenham are in a bad run of form right now, and I don't think everyone wants Tottenham to do well with this new stadium coming in next season as well, and Harry Kane on form. I don't think. I don't know.
I think my point is dead on. The fans, the players get up for the big games. Mm-hmm. If United comes in, if Arsenal comes in, if Chelsea comes in. Champions League games, they're going to be. The fans are going to be into it, but when the stadium is dead and the fans aren't into it, that's when they're going to, that's when they're going to get a draw.
Tottenham were winning these games last season at White Hart Lane.
These big games, or even these big to middle big games, not the biggest game, but
Tottenham have lost against Chelsea at home. They've lost against Arsenal this season already. The only big team they've beat is they've lost against Manchester United this season. The only big top 5 team they've beat this season is Liverpool. That's it.
And Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid.
Yeah, but not in the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but those 2 win, and they beat Borussia Dortmund twice.
All right. Yeah, but that doesn't justify anything to do with the Premier League.
Yes, it does, because that's one thing I don't get about soccer, and I know I sound like an idiot.
It's very, very simple. It's very simple.
So blame the manager for not organising his team and getting pumped up for Premier League games.
Nope. Well, half of that.
Or like managing the players where he thinks fit for. I know you want to advance in the Champions League, but you still got to put in performances on a Saturday afternoon.
Exactly. Tottenham Hotspur, their team is not good enough to choose between Premier League and Champions League. It's not. Mm-hmm. They can perform in either competition and perform at a high level. And by
that you mean there's not enough depth.
Yes.
In order to produce, that's what most people need to know. In order to fucking be good in both these competitions, you need to be able to field about 16 players.
More than that, dude. One thing that has helped Arsenal this season, is that without being in the Champions League, you can play your second team in the Europa League. However, starting a more or less full second team squad in the Europa League allows your second team to be fresh. In the Premier League, you start a different team, they're fresh. So when I saw this point made, and I was like, that's actually pretty spot on, I feel like.
Well, this is why Chelsea ran away with the league last season.
You have 2 different teams that are fully fit and fresh between the Europa League and the Premier League. Between the Premier League and the Champions League, you're playing the same team. You can't afford to sit 2 or 3 players, or 4 players, or 5 players.
So you telling me that if Tottenham Hotspur came to play Toronto after Toronto's on a 3-week rest, Toronto? No, but I know you. Dude. This is the hardest thing about becoming a soccer fan, a European soccer fan specifically, is understanding how much rest and recovery goes into your team's success.
Dude, I'm talking. I played Division III soccer. You need to recover. 2 games in a week, you are exhausted physically. Now,
and you were 19 too, which is that's where you could recover the most.
Times 100. Okay, that's why I think low key why Arsenal has started to pick up form is because when you bring Jack Wilshere in a Premier League game for the last 30 minutes, he's sharp and he's fully fit. And when Arsenal plays Red Star Belgrade away in front of 70,000 fans lighting flares and rioting, he can play in that environment because he's fully fit, he's mentally checked in. I really feel that Arsenal, again, in the Premier League and the Champions League, you play your full 11. In the Premier League, you play your full 11. So when does your second team play at a competitive level? Sometimes the FA Cup isn't that competitive, and we know that the Carabao Cup isn't that competitive. I think that for Arsenal, this Europa League schedule has benefited them, and a team like Spurs with their squad isn't that deep. They don't have the resources for a deep squad. It's been somewhat detrimental. However, for them, go win the Champions League, yo. Do it. Premier League is whatever. I don't think so either, but European glory is way better than winning the Premier League.
All right. Well, I hear bottles clattering in the background, Mike, but we'll just...
Yes, I have all my...
We got to wrap this up anyway, but just a quick breakdown on the fantasy. I know you boys have been...
checked out.
Tinkering with your teams and making transfers. To be honest, I have not looked at this for a couple of weeks, but I was kind of shocked when I just opened this up. So, here we go. Top 3 in the Third Touch Fantasy. We have Pathetico Madrid, Sean Donovan, 57 points this week. 708. I know I put Harry Kane as captain. I think I did that, and he's.
I did that.
Yeah, and I mean I had Lukaku as captain, but anyway, Pathetico Madrid, Sean Donovan, 57 points this week, 782 total. Second place, Jammer FC Chad Binney, 91 points this week.
Jeez.
It was a double fixture though, so I'll see who he had real quick. He had De Bruyne as captain, who got 26 points, and he had Rooney as well.
He's on my team.
Who, Rooney?
I think both of them are on my
puts
team.
Rooney in their fantasy team? Anyway, he also had Joe Hart and Giroud.
You're rude. Nice one. Nice one, Mike.
You suck. Jammer FC,
well,
Chad
fucking Connor's out
Binney,
of
91 points, 764.
I'm tweeting for the account, bro.
764 total. Ilmatic, Andrew Dugan, 65 points a week total, 741 overall. So us three, where do you think? Okay, myself, 9th place. I was like 3rd. Dropped to 41 points. What am I doing here? Who have I got? I got Harry Kane, Jesus, Agasaki, David Silva, Decore, Ali, Knockout, Valencia, Neom, Holgate, De Gea. I've got a pretty good team here. But yeah, 41 points for myself. In 9th place, 718 overall. Here we go. I've got to scroll down a lot here. Pula Gods, Michael McLaughlin. Didn't you guys make a bet?
Who
You
made
two?
a bet?
You and Connor.
Did we, Connor?
We did.
yeah.
We did.
What's the bet?
If you finish above me, I buy you $100 of Bitcoin.
Is that really $100? All right.
You better buy now.
Yeah, seriously.
Pula Gods, Michael McLaughlin, 36 points. This
Garbage.
week. 614 total.
Disclaimer, I've not signed in 11 weeks.
Yeah, you have Lukaku and Kane up front, Williams, Ali, Chamberlain, De Bruyne, Willian, Jeff Cameron.
Got it. America.
Yeah. Okay.
What's going on? Why do I suck? What's
in 20th? You just have a shit team. 22nd, just behind you,
Oh, worse.
is Connor Walsh, 44 points this week, 593 total.
Yeah. Dude, yesterday,
Jack Wilshere like 12 positions.
yesterday, Danny Williams comes in the game for Huddersfield, and I said to my grandpa, I'm like, oh, it's the American. Danny Williams checking in. It's like 4-0. He's like, who? I'm like, yeah, you're old. Just watch the game, dude.
But his dad is calling him. But yeah, that rounds it up for this week. Everyone, so when the World Cup draws probably happen when you're listening to this podcast. But enjoy the World Cup draw tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be a Toronto-Seattle MLS final. And we shall be back shortly. Thanks, guys,
Next
for
week.
joining us.
No more of this 2-week BS, man.
Okay.
We're back.
We're back weekly.
Weekly. We'll try and be back weekly. No, we'll be back weekly.
Maybe 2 times a week if we do 30-minute ones, which I like.
Well, we've got to hit 50 episodes before the new year because it's our 1-year anniversary coming up, which is the day after Christmas Day. You're coming up for Christmas, Mike?
Yeah, how many episodes are you on right now? Yeah, I'm coming up.
All right, it's not race. Don't think about it.
Okay, all right.
All right. But yeah, thanks, guys. Good luck to Tiger Woods this weekend. Just shoot below 100.
Tiger Woods, y'all. That's all good, y'all.
But thanks, guys, for joining in. Remember, buy crypto before it's too late.
Don't invest in Ethereum.
You don't like Ethereum? Because it lost 40% today?
Bro, I love it.
He wants it. He wants it all. Anyway, thanks, guys.
Falcon coin.
Thanks. Yeah, scam.
Go on, bro.
There's a lot of scams out there.
Easy, it's not a scam.
Do you want to plug your business, your new business,
It's not
Mike?
my business. I got nothing to do with that
All right,
shit.
okay. All right. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Okay.
What
All
up,
right.
what up?
We're FaceTiming.
We're FaceTiming my dad. Dad, we're wrapping up the podcast right now. He's live in Seattle. He's had a few beers, I think. What up?
Hey, yo, cheers, Mr. Walsh.
Hey.
How's the West Coast? This is live insight in.
Dad, you're on live on the podcast.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm trying to show you some. You guys haven't seen the first video then.
Yeah, we don't know what you're saying, son.
All right. We're wrapping up the podcast.
All
Well,
right,
thanks,
wait
guys,
one
for tuning
second.
in, and we'll speak to you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
The good stuff. Who do